I think we all have our special story about journaling. Mine dates a few years back. I remember every single time my mother would buy me these beautiful leather-bound journals with the creamy white papers. I would open it, and just like every 10 or 12 or who knows, 25-year-old person, I wanted to document my life. I want to write stuff down about what's happening right now so I can go 10 years later, 15 years later, when I'm 75 years old and I read back on the amazing life or terrible life that I led as a 15-year-old. But every single time I would open the book and I would stare down on the creamy white papers, the first thing I would realize is that I can't think about anything. My mind was as blank as the paper in front of me. I have no idea what to put on the paper, what to write, because there was so much to put down. My life was so much more than just words. It was emotions, it was a river of flowing energy. And when I finally pick up my pen to write something, I would write like a few lines that would go like, oh, today I played football with my friends. It was very, very nice. I would literally tear out the page in my journal and throw it away because I was so ashamed of what I was writing. I was being so inauthentic. And I feel that's so relatable with so many of us. We feel like we are being inauthentic. We are not being ourselves. We are not documenting how our lives really turn out. And that's why we quit. That's why we stop. But today I really want to teach you 3 simple tricks that help me journal. It's not just any video, because I have done it. I've written like 10 journals ever since I started using this back 8 months ago. I started journaling 8 months ago, and I literally have like books filled with stuff I write. So let's get into it. The first one I want to talk about is an acronym that no one ever talked about. This is an acronym I made up. That is why no one ever talked about this acronym. And I think it's so straightforward. The acronym literally goes like WRITE, which is W-R-I-T-E. Write. Imagine write. So write goes like this. You need to have a will, recall, item, topic, and evaluate. Look at this. Will, recall, item, topic, evaluate. And the idea how this goes is that before you start writing, every single time, make sure when you open that journal and you stare at the creamy white paper, you need to have a will. You need to want to write something. I think it's so futile if you open a journal just to look at it like a task, because it's not a task. You're documenting your own life down. It is so valuable for you to not use your will and genuinely want to write something. And before I write, every single time I would sit down and I would recall what happened. I would literally give myself a mental image of what happened. What happened that I really want to write down. It might be an event, right? It might be a learning experience. It might be encountering some person. But every single time I would recall, I would place it so vividly clear in my mind, and I would start writing literally like the words in my brain. Then when I wrote down like a few lines literally in my brain, I would finally start picking up my pen. The next one is item, or you can also say like event, right? This event is different from like recalling what event that you have. This event is sort of like, there's a specific event that you tie in with, you know, what you want to write about. You want to have this kind of event as this kind of starting point, right? It's because like, for example, you want to talk about how you played football with your friends. But like, the key thing is to realize that the event is the whole thing of the story. Because the next one I'm going to talk about is topic. You tie in the topic with the event. A topic is something like a learning that you took away from the event, such as like bonding, team sports, you know, you took that out of playing football. So when you tie in the topic with the event, You can finally formulate something that is really like meaty, really like, it's an actual story that you're trying to construct. And that's the key thing with the journal. You're really trying to tell your own story. You want to tell your own story to yourself and everyone in the future that's going to look at your story. And the last one, I think this is the key to writing a good journal entry. This is evaluate. Evaluate is, the reason why it's so important is that we need to, think about what is the learning behind it. Because every single time I write a journal, I have a learning experience. I have an outcome. I have this kind of final, kind of purpose to it. You need to have this kind of key purpose to why you're writing it down. So I used to literally write, like meditations 15, I would have this kind of evaluate, like nerves. I'll be writing about like being scared or whatever. For example, another one, like meditations 3, I'll be talking about like kindness, Like these kind of evaluations are key to writing a good journal entry. Number 2, I really want to talk about themes over here. Because in a journal, what we realize is that obviously not everything we write is going to be the same. Not everything's going to go like, oh dear diary, today I did blah, 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 blah. Because sometimes we want to do other things in our journal. We want to decorate it, we want to pick like pictures, quotes, these kind of like motivational speeches, whatever. I literally have like all of these in my journal. So it's key to have these kind of themes that you categorize everything you write into. So it's clear and you can pick out what you want. So I suggest you could copy me, or like you can do some other thing, because I have like 5 very clear themes in my notebooks. The first one is meditations. I call this meditations. Meditations literally mean thoughts, right? It's literally our learning, what I learn from my life. I write meditations. And I have all these like meditations, I don't know, like meditations 12, for example, right here, like goals. That's how I write. Meditation 12. The next one is gratitude. I think this is key to your life. If you have gratitude, if you give back, you're going to receive as well, right? Give and you shall receive. Literally have this on my wristband. It says, seek and you shall find. I think it's beautiful. I have gratitude. I have revelations. These are the big epiphanies that I have in my life, right? It must be like really long, a lot of stuff comes into my revelations. You can title it like literally like me, meditations, gratitude, revelations. I have quotes as well, key quotes that are going to help me in my life. Then I also have like some kind of like pictures or like, these kind of small thinkings that is literally like miscellaneous, literally everything else that goes into my journal. And last, number 3, I really want to talk about the key component in finishing. Every single time when I start writing a journal, I almost always finish, because finishing gives you such a sense of accomplishment, right? When you finish writing a journal entry, it's like putting your book and you're closing the book, You're finished reading the chapter, you finish reading this, you finish doing that. And when you finish, your brain literally sends a signal, like, yay, we did this task, like completed, It's sort of like taking something off your task list. If you don't finish and you like leave it there, it's such an annoying thing, and it literally puts more like friction between you and opening your journal again. Because like you don't really want to open your journal and find like a half-finished like piece of work. So finish. Every single time before you start, make sure you finish. Finish before you start. Start with that will in your mind. Finish before you start. And I think with these 3, like literally, small tips in mind, I'm sure that you can journal. I'm sure you can journal like me. I should have like 7 books over here. It's mad. Like, imagine how many books I've finished. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Love you so much.